So talk a little bit about people who are not, I mean, who I was about to say not from a diverse community, but really don't understand what it is to be not from a minority group or financially disadvantaged, and how does he or she actually understand what some of these challenges are. So sometimes they say, I mean, unless you be it, you can't be the agent of change. So and how do people experience things that they haven't experienced normally as part of their growing up? So therefore, for them, like I use Adam Grant's quote, which says diversity is good, but it isn't easy. So how does somebody kind of get through that mental hurdle?
Mm. That's a really good question, actually. It's one dear to my heart because and I always bring it back to communication, right? To having conversations because there is so much I still need to learn. I mean, I'm a woman, sure, but I've been lucky in many regards. I've had to work hard, but if I look at my English, socioeconomic differences, for example, and biases, things that you just aren't aware unless you're having communication and conversation around it, or unless you're actually searching for that information and attending meetings where people talk about, you can just listen, right? I think that's a really good start. And then I think what's very important is to open, and it sounds corny, but really open up your mind and your heart to it. Because what other people have to go through because of how things have been set up, the ways have been set up, right? Whether it is the ability to get to school, right? It starts really early, the ability to have healthcare, all of those things play a major factor. And again, I have so much still to learn myself, but if people can just open themselves up for that and having a conversation, I think that's a good starting point. And after that, it's about trying to make a difference, right? How do you walk the talk? Like, what can you do based on your position to make a difference? And I think for many organizations, what it means is to put the money where their mouth is, right? Again, in this competitive hiring market, it's not only about high compensation and flexibility anymore. I think that cultural aspect will be more and more important to employees. I think more and more employees will look for that inclusivity and being able to be in their authentic selves, right? Express themselves in whichever way they want to, because that's how they're most successful. That's when they're happy. When you have happy employees, your organization is probably much more secure because they will seek out innovative solutions. They will seek out to learn and they want to do well. If you don't have those conversations and you don't create that culture, I think you're running a real risk of not just losing your good employees in this competitive market, but also not having a secure organization.
Wonderful. So one final question, which is really advice to newcomers, right? Where they don't have a role model, cybersecurity isn't something that they're accustomed to, and yet they see, hey, it's a enduring industry. Unfortunately, it's going to be there for a while because you're never going to be fully secure. But also the fact that it is a high paying industry, so they also look at it from a longevity perspective. It's
Mm-hmm.
something they want to be part of. So, what
Mm-hmm.
advice do you have if you're like a middle school or high school or even a college grad who hasn't really gone down the STEM path to say what is it that they can do to see if this is really what they want to do, and what first steps can they take?
I think the first thing for them to do is to learn as much as they can about the field. Because even now, I have conversations with women that are in their 20s. They just know they want to go into cyber, but they don't really know what that means, right? The breadth of jobs. Like, I'm not an in-depth technical person. I'm technical enough, but I'm not the subject matter expert, right? I'm not the person that sits in the SOC. That's not what I do. But the things I do, there's is clearly a space in cybersecurity and privacy and risk as well, for the work we're doing. And when you look at it and I'm going to put my project management hat on from the past, or if you have a program that's a large program, one of the first things you need to do is you need to find sponsors, right? And I would do the same thing as a young individual trying to get into the space. Learn the different options. Do you want to be technical? Do you want to be more in project management, product management? What is it that you want to do? Or you enjoy the strategic side, planning, and finding your way into that. And then finding someone not who just can mentor you, but who can truly sponsor you, right? Who can take you down that road, whether it is connecting with the right people who stands up for you, who you can be mentored by. I think it's a lot more than just mentorship. I think it's truly sponsorship. That's what you need in a large program to be successful. And if you look at yourself as that program, I think that's what you need to.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, couldn't have said it better, right? I mean, mentorship is an overused thing, but really, I mean, sponsorship means you're taking a personal vested interest in his or her
Yes.
well-being and growth, right? So,
And there are plenty of opportunities out there with organizations, right? That
yeah.
you
And
enjoy.
again, just to quote an amazing sponsor, Samaria, when she was on my personal show last week, and we talked about like why she does what she does, and it's just amazing to see. And Chris Dahl, yourself, I mean, so many people out there just pushing boundaries and, as Naomi says, breaking down the gates. So,
Yes, people want to make a difference, right? And I think this is a space where you can truly make a difference. If you're a leader in this space, I think you can really drive change forward. I think you can support anyone who wants to grow within the field or who wants to break into the field. We need all the talent we can get at this point, and the more diverse, the better, right? Because that creativity doesn't come from the same group of folks. It just doesn't.
well said. Thanks, Christian, for your time.
Thank you so much, Ashwin.